Australian sponsorship visas. All you need to know. Are you looking to be a benefactor of a skilled worker? Do you wish to bring a family member to Australia temporarily or permanently? Do you specialise in a specific field and are looking to travel, live and work in Australia? If your answer is yes, then let's go through the information on sponsorship visas to decide what is your relevant visa type. There are 3 types of sponsorship visas: employer-sponsored visas, family sponsorship visas, and nomination visas. Let's first find out about the employer-sponsored visas. This visa type requires the candidate to be sponsored by their employer. Generally, this means that the sponsor gives assurance of an employment position, salary and responsibilities, and the applicant also has some obligations. 482 visa. The temporary skill shortage visa permits employers to sponsor workers in a designated profession. The worker must have the required skills and should have 2 years of experience in the nominated profession. The length of the subclass 482 visa can vary from 1 to 4 years. (186) visa. The Employer Nomination Scheme visa is a direct entry stream where candidates are required to provide positive results for the skills for their chosen occupation. If there are any registration or licensing requirements for the nominated occupation, those must be met. There are no regional restrictions for this visa type, and the employment should be for at least a period of 2 years after the visa is granted. This subclass 186 visa is a permanent visa that permits visa bearers to permanently live and work in Australia. 494 visa. The Skilled Employer-Sponsored Regional Visa is an employer-backed stream that requires candidates to undergo a skills evaluation for their nominated profession. There are regional restrictions on this visa subclass, as the work conducted must be in a selected area. The duration of the employment will be for a period of 5 years, approximately after the visa is granted. 400 visa. The Temporary Work Short Stay Specialist Visa is an extremely specialised work stream that allows visa holders to perform short-term, highly specialised work in Australia. The candidates must work in a highly skilled job, and the employer should provide a job offer, employment contract, or letter of invitation as evidence of the position. 407 visa. The Training Visa permits visa bearers to partake in work-based occupation training activities to advance their skills in their professions, studies, or field of expertise, or in a program for professional development in Australia. To qualify for this visa, you must be nominated and sponsored, or invited by the Australian business that is offering the training. It is important to note that for the 407 training visa, the Australian business selecting the individual should be approved to be a temporary activities sponsor. This visa usually allows stay in Australia for 2 years. Now let's talk about Global Talent Employer-Sponsored Visa. The Global Talent Employer-Sponsored Visa program permits employers to sponsor workers from overseas for highly skilled positions. This program is developed to grant advantage to Australia and its employees ultimately. Therefore, the program demands that the employer prove how offering employment to this highly skilled overseas worker will either produce more jobs for Australians or pass on specialised knowledge to Australian workers. The employer must also prove that they are unable to fill the position with Australian workers or via existing skilled visa programs. There are 2 streams available in this program, and they are Established Business Stream and Startup Stream. Visa candidates must present at least 3 years of work experience directly related to the nominated occupation. The Global Talent Employer-Sponsored Visa is a permanent visa permitting visa holders to live and work permanently in Australia. Family Sponsorship Visas. This visa category lets families bring their family members to Australia via a parent visa, skilled visa, or child and adoption visa. The subclass 491 visa. The Skilled Work Regional Provisional Visa Family Sponsored is developed for skilled workers desiring to live and work in regional Australia. To qualify for the family sponsorship stream of the 491 visa, the applicant must be sponsored by a family member who is eligible and living in a specified regional area. So who are eligible family members? A parent, a child or stepchild, a sister, brother, adoptive sister, adoptive brother, stepsister or stepbrother, an uncle, aunt, adoptive uncle, adoptive aunt, step-uncle or step-aunt, a niece, nephew, adoptive niece, adoptive nephew, step-niece or step-nephew, a grandparent, a first cousin. The applicant will then be invited to apply for the visa after submitting an expression of interest in Skill Select. The Subclass 491 visa is a skilled and points-tested visa that permits visa bearers to stay in Australia for 5 years. Partner visas. Partner visas let a de facto partner or spouse of an Australian citizen, Australian permanent resident, or qualified New Zealand citizen live permanently in Australia. Applicants for this visa must be in a genuine relationship with their spouse or de facto partner. If you are in Australia and plan to apply for a partner visa, you should apply for Subclass 820-801. If you are outside Australia and plan to apply for a partner visa, you should apply for Subclass 309 or 100. Parent visas. Parent visas permit Australian citizens or permanent residents to bring their parents to Australia. There are multiple types of parent visas, including the following: Aged Parent Visa Subclass 804, Contributory Aged Parent Visa Subclass 884, Contributory Aged Parent Visa Subclass 864, Contributory Parent Visa Offshore Subclass 173, Contributory Parent Visa Subclass 143, Parent Visa Offshore Subclass 103, Sponsored Parent Visa Subclass 870. Applicants who wish to apply for one of the parent category visas mentioned earlier will require a sponsor who resides in Australia as a temporary or permanent resident. A sponsor must either be an Australian citizen, an Australian permanent resident, or an eligible New Zealand citizen who fulfills the following requirements. They must be of 18 years of age or above. They must have lived in Australia lawfully for a minimum of 2 years before the parent submits their visa application. Child and adoption visas. A child requires an Australian visa where they are not the bearer of a permanent visa and they are planning to travel, enter or remain in Australia continually. There are 6 different forms of child or adoption visas. Those types are the following: Child, permanent, Subclass 802. Orphan relative, permanent, Subclass 837. Child, permanent, Subclass 101. Orphan relative, permanent, Subclass 117. Adoption visa, permanent, Subclass 102. Dependent child visa, Subclass 445. All the types of child visas mentioned have a requirement that the child applying for the visa is financially supported by a parent or relative. The person or guardian providing financial support must also meet the following requirements. The sponsor must be 18 years of age or older. They must be an Australian citizen, a permanent Australian resident, or holder of a permanent visa, or qualified for New Zealand citizenship. Nomination visas. Nomination visas are a type that does not have a requirement for sponsorship, but does require a nomination. Nomination is different from sponsorship, as the nominator owes fewer responsibilities and obligations to the candidate than an employer sponsor. Nomination is related to a recommendation dependent upon an individual's skills and qualifications or expertise in a specific industry. GTI, Global Talent Independent Visa. The Global Talent Independent Visa is a streamlined and priority visa route for highly skilled and talented candidates to migrate to Australia to live and work permanently. To qualify for the GTI program, you must either be referred by a Global Talent Officer or nominated by a nominator. Requirement for the nominator: must have a national reputation in the same field as the applicant and is either one of the following: an eligible Australian citizen, a permanent resident, an eligible New Zealand citizen, an Australian organisation. Based on the industry in which the highly skilled candidate works, the nominator can be a university, employer, industry body, or industry peers. 491 Visa Regional State Nomination. The Skilled Work Regional, Provisional, Visa allows skilled workers and their families to live, work and study in a selected regional area of Australia. The period of stay in Australia is 5 years. To be qualified for the subclass 491 visa, you should be nominated by an Australian state or territory government agency. If you are selected for the subclass 491 visa, the state or territory will send you an invitation to apply. Every state and territory has their own visa eligibility criteria. 190 Visas Skilled State Nominated. The Skilled Nominated Visa is a points-based visa that permits skilled workers who are chosen by an Australian state or territory government to live and work in Australia as permanent citizens. Each state and territory government has their own list of occupations that are in demand. Following are the visas in the Skills Nominated category. VIC Occupation List, ACT Occupation List, NSW Skilled Occupation List, Queensland Skilled Occupation List, TAS Skilled Occupation List, WA Skilled Occupation List, NT Skilled Occupation List. If you want to apply for any of the mentioned visas, you can submit an expression of interest with details of your nominated profession, skills, and qualifications. The Australian state and territories will then decide if they want to nominate you. Every state and territory has their own conditions. We have reached the end of today's video update. Like, share and subscribe to our channel for more latest updates. Thanks for watching.